BarbacoaCore, a podcast network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the X Lives podcast. I am your host, Patrick C. Huerta. On this podcast, we talk about our present, our future, and more importantly, our past. The good, the bad, and the fuzzy. Stories from our X lives. Like, share, and subscribe on whichever platform you use to listen to the podcast. Follow the BarbacoaCore Podcast Network on Instagram and Facebook at BarbacoaCore. All the links to most of our podcast platforms can be found on the website www.barbacoacore.com. Any questions, comments, or to share your stories from your past on the X Lives podcast, send emails to xlivespod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy these episodes. This is X Lives. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the X Lives podcast. I apologize for taking the week off. I actually did a show last week. I'm trying to record every Wednesday, but last Wednesday I was in Laredo doing a show with my next guest that I have on. Give it up for Big John. What's going on, man?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
How you doing, dude?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah.
Trying to stay warm.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, dude. Like I said, we met in Laredo doing that show with Larry Garza. Shout out to everybody in Laredo for showing love, man. It was a great show, man. But that's where I actually met you up there and stuff.
Yeah.
Funny guy, dude. And we'll get into your story in a little bit. But before we get into that, plugs, any shout outs, websites, how can people find you?
Facebook, but social media, Instagram is a little more at Big John 747. The number's 747. IKnow.com, AYYNO.com, and that'll take you to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. That's like the one stop.
What is A know?
Not
I know.
Whoa.
I know?
I know. I know is more like a noun. You could use it. It's like person, place, or thing, dog. It's one of those things that is like you look at a price on a shirt and you see it's $40. I know, like that's too much, dog. Or you'd be with your mom somewhere and you see a chick with short shorts. You're like, hell yeah, and she's like, I know, mija, look, So that's kind of like where that came from. I've heard it growing up, but some guy that I would follow on YouTube, he said it one time, and I thought it was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
His aunts are doing Zumba in the living room, and he's eating a Twix. And he's like, I know. And dude, I just thought it was so funny, dude. And I kept it.
Yeah.
And we put it on T-shirts. We put it on koozies. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And people were like, Ano? And I'm like, nah, I know.
I know. Yeah.
I know. And so it just depends, like how you wanna use it. It's
a marketing tool, man. It's all about merchandising, getting a hashtag out there, something that people could to call back to you.
Yeah, so it's like
You have your own shirts and all that stuff?
Show shirt. This is from a toy drive show I did.
Yeah.
So I keep all the shirts. We're getting a shadow box, and we're putting each shirt in them eventually. So I just need to stop wearing them because my first shirt has like a barbacoa stain or the menudo stain. I can't remember what I was eating when I was wearing it, but
yeah,
it has a fucking stain on it.
You keep it real, man. You got to keep it real. It's 100% authentic.
It's real, yeah.
So that's cool, man. So yeah, the X Live podcast, how it works is like we get to know you. This is our first time kind of sitting down and just fucking bullshitting and stuff. And then the X Lives, I like to go into people's like past and like find out who they were before they started focusing on whatever they're focusing on now. What their current life is. They had a past life, an X life. We'll get into that, and then to wrap it up, we'll do a hypothetical.
Yeah.
If you weren't focused on what your past was and what your present is now, what would you be doing? What would your focus be?
Yeah.
Later on. But we'll get into all that. But first things first, man. Let's get to find out about you, man. What's up with you in comedy? Like, you have a very unorthodox way of going about it. We're talking about it, and hopefully we could capture that magic of the conversation that we were having before.
Y'all missed out. You all missed
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Well, because I like to make the guests feel comfortable, man. So we'll kind of
Yeah.
like rap and
I'm
I
com-
lost track of time, dude. We were talking for a whole like hour.
I'm comfortable knowing that my shit's not gonna get told outside. I'm
No, that's the only thing you're worried about.
Nah, I'm good, man. So let me see. What were we talking about again?
So I mean, you do DJing, right? You
Yeah.
DJ parties and stuff, and that was kind of like your first step into
That's when I really got to be around strangers.
Yeah.
And groups of strangers. 15 years old, started DJing. Like I said, in the back, in the cuartito that we had in the back, 2 radios, one with a CD player, one without, and just lowering music on one and putting it louder on the other, and stealing that tape recorder and making cassettes to pass them out. And 17 years old, that's when I was like, I guess you would say professional. And I was doing quinceañeras, house parties. It really started in high school, house parties. People are like, hey, you're a DJ? I'm like, yeah. And I was at a house party and, just playing music and just practicing. And then when I was 17, my friend Oscar's having a birthday party, and I'm on top of a washer and dryer, and that's when his uncle heard me. I was like, hey, we should get together, and make money. And I'm 17. I'm like, man, hell yeah. Like, I don't have money for lights and equipment. And, you'd look at the DJ magazines and your mouth would just water there because
there's so much stuff.
You
man.
want
fog
everything.
machines, lights, lasers.
You want everything.
Cabinets, all that shit.
Yeah. And so he and I got together, man. Our first gig was in December of 2004 at the fucking courts, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the courts on Couples and Guadalupe, right by the Fiesta. And we're getting the equipment off the truck, and somebody's like, man, I wonder how much you can get for this at the pawn shop.
Somebody walked by and asked you that?
They were helping us unload the truck. And I'm like, this
shit.
is before we got into U-Hauls. And, we're in a pickup truck. Speakers are stacked. I mean, it was just nuts, dude. And we did the gig at the courts.
Yeah.
And the whole courts was there. I mean, it was one party, but it was a shitload of people, a lot of beer. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, this, I'll never forget this one.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. So we went from the courts to, I think we've probably been in every ballroom in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And in places that we couldn't get in as regular people, but since we were the entertainment, we were there. And it's been pretty cool.
And so you were the voice of that? Like, you would do the voiceovers over the music?
I would do the DJing. We take turns. Like, I would do like the English, he would do the Spanish, and but mainly the voice. But like I told you earlier, like, I was terrified of my own voice. Like, I would hide behind speakers, or I would get off the stage, and I would do the talking, and people were like, who is that? And it was me, but I was just scared to hear my own voice.
Yeah. Like, everybody thought you were just pressing like a pre-recorded
they
message.
were like, thought it was a record, like like pre-recorded talking, and having to say people's names and like not mess them up. It's like, oh shit, like, is that WERO, like Wedo? Because they would spell Wedo WEDO. So I'm like, Wedo? Like, I didn't know who it was, and then like their parents or whoever's clapping for him was like, oh, you did it wrong. It's Wedo. I'm like, well, you spelled it wrong. You spelled it wrong. Yeah. So DJing was like what got me to hold a microphone, and so then that's when, little by little, playing around on the microphone on a quinceañera when like they're doing the dollar dance, or they'd be doing the quinceañera, like the train, and I'd be like, all right, take out your 5s, 10s, 20s. If you got coupons, we accept Lone Star. I mean, and people were like, they thought it was funny, and so that's what really like pushed it to be like, okay, like, I can do it. But like I told you, I was scared until 2008 when I DJ'd for my boss's daughter's quinceañera, and I play on the intercom at work, and my boss and my friend Carlos are talking, and he's like, hey John, you're gonna get on the mic, and I'm just like, fuck, and Carlos is like, nah, he's scared, man. And he's like, no, you should hear him at work. He does birthday shout outs. He does, years of service, or he just gets on the mic. I mean, on the phone, and he talks to the intercom. And I was like, damn, like, this is it. Like, I'm busted. Like, now I gotta talk in front of people.
Yeah.
So I did the quinceañera, and I haven't shut up since.
Yeah.
I have not shut up.
And that was like you wanted to do that. Like you want to do radio and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with the radio, morning shows, or just anything on the radio, like just to hear your name, it wasn't really about the DJing. It was just about hearing your name on the radio, like making people laugh and stuff like that. So I've always been fascinated with the radio.
Being known as a character from a radio.
Yeah, like a morning show. Like
morning show
I would be like, man, if I can make you crash on the way to work, like that'd be like good. Or like, just I always be like, what I say one time, like, ladies, you're gonna laugh tonight. You might pee a little bit, fellas. You'll thank me later. It's like eating capirotada, and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things, like what you're thinking, I'm going to say it. Like, I really don't care. But I try to say it where I'm not offending you. Like, I'm not going to pick you out and be like, hey, you're going to pee tonight. That's how awkward is that?
Yeah.
So that's what got me where I'm at now. Like, applying for a radio station. Is what really got me to get on YouTube, and it was 2015. I mean, like from when I started DJing to now, I was always a clown, being a jokester, a prankster. Like I love doing that. So, but I was like, with social media taking off the way it did, Facebook, like back in MySpace, man, you couldn't really do shit like that.
No.
You could just like top 8 songs. Layouts, but when Facebook, that's when it was like, okay, cool. YouTube, you see all these people getting popular on YouTube, and you're like, fuck, like I want to do that. I'm funny, like people would laugh at me, and so that's what led me to be on the hunt. Like I want to be on the radio still. Like that was always a dream. Like even now, like shit, if I can get on the radio, I mean, I will. I mean. Somebody just put me on, and I'll try. But 2015, applied for a radio station, 94.1, the Blondie Nugget Morning Show, and they were looking for the third host. So a big competition citywide, and I applied for it. It was a video audition. My cousin Hector made the YouTube for me, and I apply. A few days later, I'm driving to work, and I remember right, it's like 5:13 a.m. Raining, and I'm on 35, headed to work, and I hear myself on the radio, and I'm like, and I take out my phone real quick. Like, if you don't believe me, like you go to my YouTube channel and go to the bottom where the first videos are, and you'll see the audition, and then you'll see right above it me on the radio, and and they're laughing because I'm doing the Miss Swan thing. And they're like, oh, this guy's funny. What's his name? And they're like, oh, Big John. And I post that video, and I'm just like, wow, like I really, came out on the radio.
And they were playing all the submissions, or had you made it to like the?
No, they were just playing submissions, and they were picking people to come on, and you would do like your audition on the radio. So,
oh wow,
so people that were getting on air as submissions were actually getting picked to go to the radio station.
Oh, okay.
And I'm messaging them like, hey, I'm down the street from y'all. Like, let me know.
Just let me know, man.
Let me know, and I'll get there.
Yeah.
And so that never happened. And I was like, fuck, like, well, there goes that. They changed radio stations, and I'm just like, what can I do now? And like I told you earlier, Vine was shutting down. Instagram started picking up videos, and I did that pizza and a fuck video, and I did it in the front of my house, and my aunt's on the porch, and I'm there flipping wigs, and it was a 15-second video on Instagram, and posted it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Now, when you say flipping wigs, you're playing all these different characters.
Yeah, so like I have different characters, and they all are somebody different.
Yeah.
I don't want to say who, because then if they find out, I'm like,
they're inspired.
You owe me.
They're inspired by someone.
They're all. These are all real people that I can mimic voices, gestures,
Yeah.
sayings. I mean, I know these people really good, and so that's what I did. I did the Miss Swan with a wig. I was gonna be Dora the Explorer for Halloween, and so I had that wig, and so I get in the truck to do her part, and I get out of the truck to do my part, and this is September, yeah, right before Halloween. So I had the wig, and I posted it on, like I said, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and overnight, dude, it was just like, wow, like this is so like. A lot of people knew the voice because I had been doing the Miss Swan voice since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And people are like, how does that little voice come out of that big body? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It just does. And, so I don't have to practice it. I can just turn it on.
Yeah.
Go from my voice to her voice. I mean, it's pretty cool, dude.
And you were talking about like how you edit or the lack thereof editing. Like instead of doing one character, run all that character's part.
Yeah.
You will go back and forth in real time. Well, not in real time, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you're doing the conversation.
Yeah.
You're recording
As
the
it's
conversation,
happening.
going back and forth from each
Yeah.
character. Why did you do it like that rather than doing the editing?
I guess it was just I didn't know how to use the Viva Video as good as I know it now. Like now I could do it.
Okay.
But back then I'm just like, dude, I just want to get it going. Like the faster I can make the video, the better.
Yeah.
And like I said, you would see the tag in some shots, in some shots you wouldn't see the tag. So
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you messed up right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't about to go back and do it. Like that's what it is.
Where people
it's,
calling you out?
Yeah.
Like, where's the continuity?
It's like
I think that's the word.
they were
I don't
like
know.
they were like, oh, you fucked up. I saw your tag. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care. You laughed, right? And I'm like, just share and like this video, and so I did that for 2 years, man. 2015, the late 2015. 2016, 2017. That's when I was on it, dude. I mean,
And how did you get the word out? Like you did the hashtag. Like how did you let people know about your YouTube channel?
word of mouth.
Just
my,
word of
my
mouth.
YouTube channel has like 200 subscribers, which is nothing. Because I think now with Facebook being more popular, I mean on Facebook I have a few videos that are like over 1,000 views, and on YouTube that same video is like at 80 views. Like I think it's a lot easier just to watch it on Facebook, share it on Facebook, versus YouTube. Because now I mean it's like if you want to watch a video, I'm pretty sure it's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So YouTube is good, but not for me.
So you're creating all these different formats. You have YouTube, and then you create a different format for Facebook, a different format for iTunes. I mean, not iTunes, for Instagram.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of work.
So it's the same video getting shared all three of them.
Oh,
Like there's
okay.
not one video for this, one video for that.
Okay.
The good thing is like on Facebook and YouTube, you can go longer than a minute now.
Yeah.
Minute on Instagram, so you got to talk fast. But I was doing it, so it was good for me. But then once I figured out that I can get 3 minutes on Facebook, like I'm just gonna do it on Facebook.
There's something I don't know too much. Do you get into like the whole algorithms, like how to get more views and?
No,
all that
I
stuff?
don't, man. I just know to make it public.
Yeah.
And hope that people like it and share it, and and it's pretty cool, man. Like when I did the Chamoy character, like I'm from the West Side. I grew up in a gated community in the West Side. I mean, not really gated. I mean, there's burglar bars on every window, and Chamoy was like. Chamoy is my character where she's the biggest hood rat, the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
That's her. And her hair is a Little Mermaid. It's an Ariel wig that my sister Valerie gave me. My sister went to a garage sale and got a shitload of wigs, gave them to me, and she's like, good luck. Maybe you'll make a character out of these. So Chamoy has...
That's so funny how your family just knows like to give you wigs and stuff. Like whatever you do with this, you do.
Yeah. My brother-in-law Julio was like, hey man, I got you some wigs. I had I have bags, man, of wigs that I have not even touched. My cousin Hector gave me that wig with the cap and the long hair.
Yeah.
It says Billy Bob on it. It was like one of those hillbilly wigs, and so that character came to life. But Chamoy to me was the one that hit with a lot of people. Because we all know that girl on Section 8 acting
Yeah.
like a homeowner.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that girl that's at the club with her child support check. You know, and I know these girls, so
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man. Yeah, like, y'all just gave me the juice for this, you know. And so I do her video, man, and I made her first video. Remember when they were doing those like those pyramid schemes where it was red and green and you put your name in the middle and then you would add somebody. It was like I forgot what they were really called, but it was like a pyramid scheme. And you know, I was like, people are doing these things and not making money, and I'm like, well, how else can you make money at a club or a bar? You pretend it's your birthday, right? You put $2-3 on your chest, and you go to 5 bars in one night.
Yeah.
And you're a girl. Of course, guys are gonna hit on you.
Yeah.
Whether you look good or not, you know, they're just trying to get laid.
Yeah.
So you walk out each bar with $20. You do 5 bars Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're making $200-300.
Yeah.
And you take the rest of the week off, you know. So the video went something like that. So I posted the video about 2:30 in the morning. I couldn't sleep, and I was thinking about that video all day. So I, you know, like I said, my aunt and uncle are asleep, and I make her video. I post it. A friend of mine shared it, and this girl, who I didn't know who she was, man. Like I know her now, but she messaged me and she's like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I just saw your video, and I just want you to know that I'm in the hospital right now with my son. He's not getting any better. The doctors can't figure out what's wrong with him. And for those 3 minutes, you made me forget where I was." And I'm like, holy shit. Like, you know,
That's
like,
amazing.
how do you take that, dude? Like, I mean, a complete stranger just to message you. And I'm just like, so I stayed up messaging with her, like, well, you know, I'm sorry, you know, like, this is before I was a comedian. Like, I'm just making videos. And I'm like, well, here's my YouTube channel. Check out my other videos. So she started looking at them, and, you know, she added me on Facebook, and, you know, I mean, I didn't talk to her after that. You know, it was just like, just that one introduction, and it was like, all right, cool. You know, and she likes my stuff, shares it. And, you know, so that's how I started getting people to follow me. They were like, dude, your videos are so real. Like, you hit home somehow. Like, we know that person, we know this chick, we know this dude, you know, or just the stuff that I post. Like, my Facebook went from being personal. Like, I remember I'd be having bad days, man, and I would post, you know, just junk, you know, try to get attention. And I can admit it, dude. And I just stopped doing that shit, man. Like, if I'm posting something, it's for a party or a show, or it's a video or a meme. Like, you know, my Facebook is not mine anymore. It's there to entertain people. So, I mean, that was the beauty of that. Like, I stopped, like, trying to get, I guess you'd say, like, validation from something. Like, I guess I was looking for people to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And, like,
I mean, that's what Facebook, I mean, the social media is all for.
Yeah.
It's like that dopamine, you know. People want, if you get a like or a laugh or something. I mean, everybody uses it. Some people like use it just for negative stuff.
Yeah.
But you're doing the opposite. You're doing positive, funny stuff, trying to make people forget about, like, their problems for a little bit. You know.
I mean, honestly, man, I think that's like to me, it's an outlet. You know, like, to wake up every day, man, is a blessing for one. You know, and you have that gift to make people laugh, you know, and it's like, fuck, like, I'm going to do it. Like, I post pictures all the time, man, and people are like, oh, look what John posted. And I'll be at work, man, and they're like, really, John? And I have a break room full of people fucking laughing, or, you know, I mean, that's just who I am. I mean, it's
just comes natural with you.
Too natural sometimes, where I'm just like, I can't turn it off, man. It's hard.
So from all that, like the DJ to doing YouTube videos and stuff, you really don't do too much YouTube videos anymore?
No, not anymore. Once I got into stand up and I grew my beard out, man, I was like, I can't do this YouTube videos. So, like, you know, I've seen, like, girl characters be portrayed with guys with beards, and to me, I don't think I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, so once I got into stand up, man, that's when I was like, I don't want to make videos anymore. Like, I mean, I'll mess around and it'll be me talking, but there's no character. And people, oh man, people were like, "Where's Chamoy? Where's the tia? Where's, even my mom?" And my mom's like, "You need to make those videos again." And she's like, "Shave your fucking beard because you look like your dad." And, and I'm like, I can, man. Like, it's just, I won't do it. Like,
Yeah.
I won't go back to doing the videos because I think I'm more focused now on stand up. Like, I'm better doing stand up than I was videos.
Yeah.
And the videos were, I mean, I did that for 2 years, and every video I did was good, a hit. But me personally, I'd rather stand up in front of people and tell jokes.
Yeah, it's an immediate like kind of response.
Yeah.
Rather than saying like how well is this playing overnight and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's a lot less nerve wracking to make a video because you're by yourself.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where it's like I get more pleasure out of this than that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just tell people like, I go through my Facebook memories, and if a video pops up, I'll share it, and people will be like, "That's what you did before stand up?" Like, like I never knew that about you. I was like, "Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's how I started."
So stand up, man. Like you, like I we said at the beginning, an unorthodox way of going about it. Which I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, man. Like that's great.
Yeah.
Go about like how did you get into doing comedy?
All right, man. So like I told you, me and my best friend Arthur, which is we call him my bae because before I got with my girl, like he was my right hand.
Yeah.
He's the one that went with me to Laredo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like I said, we saw Raymond Horta in January of 2017. A few months later, we saw Marvin Baca at the Alamo Draft House, and driving home, my friend was like, "Why don't you try stand up?" And I'm like, nah. Like at that point, I'm making the Facebook, YouTube videos. Like I don't. Doing stand up has not even crossed my mind. Like, yeah, we were there laughing, and it was cool. Like to see the way a big comedian controls a theater.
Yeah.
Like Raymond Horta, he sold out. I mean, 2,000-3,000 people downtown, right there by the bottom. And then you go to a movie theater, and it's like, it's a lot smaller, but it's still packed, and you're like, wow, like. And he's coming out, and I got to open for Marvin at a restaurant, which was pretty cool for me. It was like I didn't think that I could do it. Like I was like, nah, like I can't do that shit, dude. Like I didn't even want to do it. Like I was like, I just want to do videos.
Yeah.
And so then I get on Facebook. I'm like, yo, who would want to see me do stand-up comedy? And people responded to it good, and that's what kind of got in my head. Like, they were like, where, how much, where are you gonna do it at? And like I told you, like the original plan for the first show was a house party.
Yeah.
3 kegs, food, and comedy, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
But like I said, we never got around to do that party. May, that's when my aunt gets diagnosed with cancer. And that's when, like I told you, like losing her was like what I needed. Like, to see your life just be taken from you. I'm like, fuck, man, if I don't do it right now, like I'm not ever gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So we when I say we, I mean it's more me, but I have my best friend Mike, Art, and my cousin Hector that they work for me. One records, one runs the door, and one runs the sound. So I booked the Alamo Draft House at 108 seats, and I had never
First show ever.
First show. I never told a joke in front of people in my life, and it sells out, dude, in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm freaking out, like $10 a ticket. I'm counting all the seats, like fuck, I'm gonna make money. And so like I said, me and my friend Art are at Twin Peaks celebrating his promotion. I'm celebrating my show selling out. And we're there, and I'm still freaking out, like, damn, dog, like what am I gonna do as far as comedy? Like I have 2 hours to fill. I don't know if I have 2 hours to talk.
Yeah.
Worth the material. So
Do you realize how insane that is that you booked a venue before you even had the time to do the actual show?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure
no.
that you understand
Hey,
how
man,
ridiculous
now
that is.
now that I've been doing it for these 2 years, I look back, man, and I'm like, this shit ain't real. Like, this is not happening, dog. Like,
Yeah.
this is like, it's crazy, man, because it's one of those things that I didn't really plan for it to happen. Like, it just came to me. Like, it was just like, it happened. I didn't have time to overthink it. I didn't even have time to think about it the first time.
Are you a very impulsive person with everything? Like impulse buys, impulse actions, all that?
No, I'm more of a need and want. Do I
Okay.
need it or do I want it?
Oh, okay.
I will talk myself out of things at least 3 or 4 times before I actually do them. Just that, like, fuck, man, am I gonna fail? But then you watch all these like inspirational videos, and they're like, I was homeless and now look at me, or this is what I did, now look at me, and I'm like, fuck, like,
Yeah.
this is what you got to do, man, to do it. I mean, I'm gonna get it. So we're at Twin Peaks, 108 seats sold out. I'm celebrating, and some of my cousins didn't get tickets to the show. Some people didn't get tickets to the show, so I call up the Alamo Draft House. They had a theater with 168, the auditorium, and we took it. I hung up to think about it. Like I said, I was gonna talk myself out of it. I was like, no, 108 is fine. We'll just leave it at that. So I ended up booking it. So the next day, fucking nose is running. The next day, sold 60 seats in 3 hours. I'm sitting on my porch and people are coming like I'm selling drugs to buy tickets to my comedy show. And I'm like, I'm freaking out, dude. Like, wow, okay, no pressure, right? 60 more people, that ain't shit. So then, like I said, okay, well, what am I going to talk about for 2 hours? It took me time to come up with the title. The first show was Gordo y Chulo. It's Chulo, but at work, we would play around like, hey, Chulo.
Yeah.
So that's how Chulo came. And people correct me all the time. Like, oh, you spelled it wrong. Like, no.
You don't get it.
You're pronouncing it wrong, So the first show, Gordo y Chulo, no opener. I opened for myself.
Yeah.
I wrote jokes for 3 of my characters. 3 of my characters came to life. Chamoy, the Tia, and Juan. His name is Juan Halen. Because this guy that I used to work with, he was going to go see Van Halen, but he couldn't say Van Halen. He said Juan Halen. so my character was named after him. So Juan Halen is the name of the character.
That's funny.
And so I'm watching the theater fill up with people. I'm looking at myself, like I used a picture when I was in kindergarten as my picture that's on the theater. And people are like, that's you? And I was like, yeah, when I was like 6 years old, that's me. And it said Big John live, Gordo y Chulo. And the show went. I got standing ovation at the end. And at the end of the show, I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again, but I'm glad that I tried it.
Yeah.
And I said, because I said something like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to say whatever I want to say. And that happened. The first show sold out 3 days. And I'm like, wow. And like I said, I didn't know what else I was going to do after that. I do open mic, And I'm like, I'm excited. People went to see me. I had a new I Know shirt. And that wasn't for me, dog. Like, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because of you having to sit there, and then when it's your turn to get up on the mic, there's nobody in the audience. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, they could run pretty late.
Yeah.
You said that you did the LOL. So how they do it? Like they pull a card.
Yeah, you put the deck of cards, and you're like the 4 diamonds, or and I mean, it was cool to see people, and like I'm watching those people and not knowing who they are. Like I had no idea who they were, because like I said, I don't have a lot of comedian friends. Like I have a few. So I'm watching them and I'm like, oh man, I seen him on a flyer. I saw him on a flyer. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just trying it for my first time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, me too. And there's good ones or bad ones.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, wow, so it was cool. So then, like 2 weeks after that, Metro PCS calls. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they're hitting me up through Facebook. I think it's a fake profile. And I'm like, nah, this ain't real. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I want to know how much you are. And I'm like, I'm thinking as a DJ. So like, it's Christmas time. I'm like, okay, cool. As a DJ. And they're like, no, like as a comedian, how much are you? And I'm like, oh shit.
And how did he find you? From like your Facebook?
He saw a video on Facebook. I don't know which one he saw, but his employees actually saw it. And they're like, dude, check this guy out.
Oh, wow.
He's funny. And so he messaged me. So Urshan, if you hear this, what's up? And so I'm like, I don't believe you. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, call me. I give him my number. He's like, give me a minute. And he calls, dude, and we're talking. And he's like, I want to hire you for my Christmas party. It's going to be at Smoke downtown. Mm-hmm. How much are you? And I'm just like, well, how much do you have to like spend, And he's like, I have $200. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it for $150, but you have to treat me and my friend.
Yeah.
And he was like, done. So I called my friend Art. I'm like, yo, dog, we're going to go downtown to Smoke for some comedy. And he's like, well, who's performing? And I'm like, me.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll tell you about it, So we go to Metro PCS and we go to the Smoke restaurant for the Metro PCS Christmas party. And we get there and they walk us in, man. They escort us in. They're like, yeah, I'm here to perform tonight. I'm a comedian. And
you're the only one on the show?
I'm the only one, dude.
Oh, wow.
And we walk in, and it was just so cool, man, because Snoop Dogg was there.
What?
Okay. So Smoke has different floors, right? The basement, the dining hall, and then they have that VIP table upstairs. And we walk in, and the guy's like, look, a celebrity's going to come. He might not come through here, but if you see him, don't stop him. Don't talk to him, nothing. And me and my boy are like, dude, who the fuck is it? Like, I know it's not us.
Yeah.
So what happened was he has a football organization Tykes or the Friday Night Tykes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they were having their Christmas party upstairs. He was performing at the Aztec.
Oh, so I thought you meant like he was performing for that Christmas show.
No,
I was like, they have you and Snoop Dogg.
No. Hell no,
Metro
man.
PCS on fire,
like,
man.
Yeah, they're fucking deals, bro. And so we're there at the bar drinking, dude, and we just hear the upstairs just erupt, dude. Like we're freaking out, like, dude, it's him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be slick. I'm gonna walk up the stairs, right? Like me being slick, like that's come on.
Yeah.
So security's at the stairwell, and they're like, nah, you can't go up there. I'm like, Snoop Dogg really up there? And they're like, yeah. Then we see on the news that he was there. I was like, dude, we were in the same building. Like we were just downstairs.
Yeah.
And so I tell people like, oh yeah, I was performing. Snoop Dogg was there too. Just trying to make it look like, oh shit, I was doing something. So I do the show for Metro PCS, 30-minute show, simple and sweet. He just wanted me to roast his employees.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I really don't get down like that. And he's like, I'm paying you, do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, fuck it, like I'll do it. I get up there, say a couple of jokes, and they were all like talking at the same time with me. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just like fuck it. Started roasting them. Mm-hmm. Started making fun of this crowd. That crowd was laughing at this crowd. I mean, it was a good show. And still hadn't hit me that I was a comedian.
Yeah.
So that was December 2017. I took the money that I made from the show, made a Fiesta medal. Mm-hmm. The Fiesta medal sold out. I took that money and I was like, you know what? Let me book my second show. I called the Alamo Draft House. We get the auditorium again. And it sold out, but it took longer. Mm-hmm. So it took like 6 weeks. Yeah. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, fuck, dude, I just sold out in 3 days a few months ago.
The first show.
Yeah.
And now your second show
and
struggling.
I'm like, shit, dog, like I don't got the juice no more. And I'm like, well, let me downsize so it could sell out faster. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, nah, like I'm not. People are about to get their income tax. They're going to be blowing money on dumb shit. They can buy a ticket to my show. And sure enough, man, people got their income tax and it sold out. Yeah. And that was my opening line at the show.
That's just so insane, dude. Like you're just booking auditoriums. You're booking out.
Yeah, 168. seats.
Yeah.
And that's not all, man. Like, I'll sell people tickets to the show and they can't go. I give them back their money, get their tickets to sell it to somebody else who didn't get a ticket.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm wheeling and dealing, man, just so I can have the theater packed. So like from a financial standpoint, dude, I'm like, hey, you can't go. That's your shit. You know, but I'm like, nah, here's your money, dog. Give me the tickets.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna sell them to somebody over here, and you know, so I do that for like 2 weeks. They sell out fast. Then I'm like, yo, who has tickets but can't go? I'll give you back your money, and I do that shit till the show. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a rush, man. And I sell every ticket. Nobody takes a handful of tickets and sells them for me. Like every ticket I sell, I personally sell it to you. You know, a lot of the tickets go to my coworkers, man. My coworkers, I mean, they're with me 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And they know the dumb shit that I have to say, and they're like, you know, dude, like I know him at work.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty cool that you have like support like that. You know?
Like I've been with my job 12 years, man, and I've always been that clown. And you know, they're like, I know what he's like personally.
Yeah.
And I know what he can do when he's performing. Like there's two different people. Like you have the performer and you have the person. And he's like, they're not different, but they're not the same either. Like he knows what he has to do when he gets on that stage.
Yeah.
And so my opening line at the second show is like, I was scared, man, because my show didn't sell out fast. So I get down on my knees. Ladies, you know what that's like. You know, and I could hear the people laughing, and I start praying, and I'm like, God, like, why isn't my show selling out? And then like a voice comes, it's like, wait till they get their income tax.
Yeah.
And boom, it sold out. And that was exactly what I said when I did my second show. Like that was the opening, and that's what helped break the ice. You know, of course the intro was good. I put a good song on and come out and do a little dance. But you know, it's just more like people tell me like, don't you get scared to be up there for an hour? And I'm like, yes and no, because when you have an hour, man, you can pull shit between jokes.
Were you doing characters for the second one?
No, the second show I had an opener.
Oh, okay.
I had an opener named Julio. He was a truck driver. He used to drop off materials to my work, and he was always cracking jokes. And they're like, "Hey, man, there's this guy. He's a comedian too." And you know, so that's how we hooked up. And I asked him, "Hey, would you open for me at this show?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." You know, and people are like, "Where'd you find him?" Man, I was like, "Oh, he's a truck driver." Like,
had he done comedy before?
Open mics on the road.
Oh, okay.
And you know, and he's
That's
like,
a good idea, man. To go to different spots, different states, different cities, and just try.
He told me, he's like, man, I'm ready, dude. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And he was like, give me your number, and he would call me, dude, randomly.
Yeah.
Check this out, and he's telling me, dude, and I'm laughing. I'm like, fuck, dude, like that's gonna be good, man. So we were like the George Lopez and Gabriel Iglesias, but like the Hill Country Fair version, you know, like the
off-brand.
the off-brand, yeah. And you know, so he opened for me. He did 2 shows for me. So we did Gordo y Chulo, the first show. Second show we did 2 Gordo, 2 Chulo, because I'm a huge Fast and the Furious franchise fan.
Oh yeah.
So you have Gordo y Chulo, which is like Fast and the Furious. You have 2 Fast, 2 Furious, which is 2 Gordo, 2 Chulo. And we took a break. So like from April to July, I was doing open mic at El Luchador. I won April, May, got my own show in June, and I won again in July.
Oh, the contest that they had.
The contest, yeah. So
Luchador.
like I told you earlier, when I applied for the first contest, they told me no. They're like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
We don't need you. We have what we need. And I'm like, but you haven't even seen me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and like I said, if I get mad and don't do shit about it, I'm not going to get anywhere. So I started sending them pictures. I was like, look, I've sold out this. I've sold out that. I have my own Fiesta medal. I have my own socks. I did a show for Metro PCS. And that's when, like, 2 days later, they messaged back and they're like, yeah, you can come perform. You know, you can compete. And I went and I won. I beat 8 people. And I'm freaking out, dude. Like, I don't know if it was a beer or just the emotion, dude. Like, I wasn't supposed to be there. And I won, and I'm fucking crying, dog. Like I won a, like I won a competition, like a big one, you know. But to me, it was like, dude, like maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. But it still hadn't hit me, dude. Like I'm like, nah, like I'm just funny. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just funny. So May comes, I win again. And I'm like, wow, back to back, champion. June, the owner gave me my own show there. It was a small show, intimate. It was real cool. And then I go back July to defend again, and I won again. I beat 15 comedians. And that's when I was like, all right, like, this is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So from July to December, there was a big break. There was nothing in between.
Yeah.
There was like, it was all Facebook. It was all like, how can I get people's attention? How can I start, networking with other people? Like, I didn't want to be that guy adding every fucking comedian that I saw. Like,
A lot of people do that. Like instead of, well, I don't know, man. There's some people that do that, and then they go into their DMs and they just try to like meet them.
Get on,
that way. I don't know, man.
I never was like that, man. And I like I told you then. Okay, so like somewhere in there between March and December, we did Haven for Hope with B. Smitty. So like I met him through Boma. Boma was like, hey, there's this guy. He's winning. He's good. You should check him out. So that's how me and Bobby met. And Bobby put me in a competition. Like I said, it was open bar. Man, I got so drunk I couldn't even perform.
Yeah.
I bombed that shit. That's why like me and open bars and comedy are just is no good, man. Because I forget, dude, what I'm there to do. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna put you last. And I'm like, fuck.
All this time with the open bar. It's bad.
Open bar, and I can't even say like, oh, I didn't eat.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a lot of people. I didn't eat before I drank. Like if I say that, oh, I'm fucking lying. You're like, when I tell you,
You fucking ate, bitch.
When I tell you I pre-gamed, I mean I ate before I left the house.
Yeah,
you know, that's my pre-game, man. You know, and so I bomb at that open mic, dude, and Bobby's like, oh man, shake it off, it ain't no thing. And I'm like, I'm good, I ain't worried about it. And I think I ended up winning, dog, because I sold like 6 Fiesta medals, and the winner got $20, and I made 60. So financially, I think I beat him by like $40. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I sold my medals, and so then we did Haven for Hope, and you know, it was big for me, man, because like I told you earlier, like these people are homeless. These people are down on their luck.
Yeah.
And you know, to go to a show, and that's when I performed with Bobby, Irma, Chandra, and Joe. He's a ventriloquist magician, and so I performed with them, and that was like the first time I performed sober, like no drinks, nothing. Like, and I'm like, we all did like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'm telling the joke, and this one lady was so into it that she picked up the joke before I could hit the punchline.
Yeah.
And she's like, I say this one thing where I'm like, oh man, I met this girl, and I was like, hey, you want to go out to eat? I'm gonna take you to that restaurant where they make the food in front of you. And she's like, where? And I'm like, it's French. She's like, it's not Benihana. I'm like, nah, it's French. And before I could say Subway, this lady is like, oh, you fucking took her to Subway. And everybody's laughing, and I'm like, and now everybody knows who my girlfriend is. And I point at this lady, and she's in a wheelchair, and she's fucking laughing, man. And you know, after the show, she hugged me, and I was like, man, girl, you killed my joke, but you know what? It was good.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, you know, I get the mic, man, and I'm just like, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. You know, this is my first time performing sober.
Yeah.
And they're clapping, dog, like, yeah, like, you know, they think that I'm on drugs or something.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no,
drugs,
like,
sober from drugs.
Yeah, like, you know, like when I say Coke and ice, I mean 20 ounce of Coke and a bag of ice, not Jale, you know what I mean? And people are like, you know, and I say, hey, I'm from the West Side, you know, and I did the whole West Side thing. And this guy came up to me, and he's like, hey, bro, I'm from the West Side too.
Yeah.
And like I recognized him, and then after we took the picture, somebody took a picture of us and they sent it to me. I posted it, and they're like, hey, I know that fucking guy. That's fucking Pancho. And I'm like, oh shit, like this dude could be hiding out, you know, and I'm over here getting him caught up like he's a Haven for Hope. And so then we did Haven for Hope. And then like I told you, man, I don't know how I got mixed up into opening with Irma. I really can't remember. Like it was one of those things where it just happened, man. She just like, hey.
And now she helps out a lot of comics. Man. She puts a lot of comics on.
I mean, Irma, Bobby, like, man, for them putting me in shows and like, like, man, I'm grateful for that shit, dude. Like, it actually, we did at Smoke 10 comedians, 10 minutes. I did that one with Irma and Mind Twist Comedy, and then opened for Aaron Suarez and at Breathe with Mind Twist Comedy. And I think what really got me going was like going to Eagle Pass, because you know how she does like, well, whoever wins.
The casino?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like, I really want to do that. But before then, after we did Haven for Hope, I was like, I was like, man, I want to give back to my community. I want to give back to people in my hood, or any people struggling. So I did a toy drive show. It was all charity. I get the Alamo Draft House again. It sells out within a month. It was $10 a ticket or a $10 toy. And I was getting both, man. I was getting money, toys. I mean, it was just amazing, dude. My apartment was full of toys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, does anybody know somebody in need? But don't give me no bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
I need these people to be really in need. And I mean, man, dude, people are messaging me and telling me about people, man. Like, and I'm like, dude, some of the stories were so bad, dude. Like, I had trouble sleeping, dog, because it was like, I need to help those people like right now.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 in the morning. Like, I want to take them food or toys or something. And, when I did that, man, people were like, dude, like, you haven't even done shit for yourself, but you're already giving back. And I was like, well, I'm blessed, dog. Like, I mean, I'm not supposed to be doing this shit. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't, I'm from the hood, dog. Like, I mean, I've seen people, in need. And like I said, like us growing up, man, we got into like CPS and, people were like questioning us, like, do you know what drugs are? Or like, we're having to like have counselors at our house. And I'm like freaking out, dude. And it's like, and people really don't know that shit about me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up like that. Like, oh, like they shut the water off, or oh, you don't have a phone, or oh, your light bill's gonna get disconnected. Like, as a kid, you're not supposed to worry about that shit, but you hear about it, And I'm like, dude, like, I'm not the only one that's gone through shit like that. Like, there's people out there that when I start telling my story and people start, hearing it, they're like, be like, damn, dude, like, I went through that shit, as a kid, and now look where I'm at, or So I was like, let me help whoever I can help, dog, and when we did the toy drive, man, like, it was just like, wow, it was so cool.
Yeah.
And like, I always say, like, I got blessed after that, because that's when I got into to do more bigger things. Like, I'm on a flyer now. Like, it's not my flyer, but I'm on a flyer now. And, it was just like, we wanted to do another one this year, man, but there was so much shit going on, dude, that, I was getting ready to leave my apartment. And when I did the last one, I was just moving into my apartment. Now I'm moving out. And with work and the schedule, like, it was hard to do it. But, it was just one of those things that I felt was needed. Like, I needed to do it already. I always tell people, like, where I'm from, like, what hood I'm from, what school I went to. And they're like, why? You say that every time. And I'm like, yeah, dog, because if I don't do it, and they hear this, and they hear it, like, they're going to be like, you forgot where you came from.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, like, I can't forget. So, but, yeah, so that was, like, the first year was just good. The second year was better.
But it's so crazy, your approach, because like a lot of people, they start with open mics and then they just build their sets up and up until hopefully doing an hour or 2 hours and stuff. But you jumped right to that, which is insane. I mean, you're a funny guy. We were on that show in Laredo.
Laredo
last week.
That was a good show.
And that was the first time seeing you. I mean, I've seen you around, and I've seen like your post. I mean, I saw you. The first time I saw you was on Irma's flyer for that Mind Twist comedy. I think it was at Smoke too.
Yeah, the 10 comedians.
Yeah,
and I killed that show, man.
And I had just saw you. I had seen you on there. And the same thing, like you get from a lot of people, like that.
Who are you?
Yeah, because they don't see you at the open mics and stuff. because that's how people get into it and stuff. Or for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of comics who's been doing it for a while that don't do open mics too much unless they want to try one thing out, you know. But they already have like their set, their material and stuff. And you totally like you bypass that.
I went the other way, yeah.
Yeah, man. And like, so you really don't dig doing open mics or trying stuff like that.
It's not that I don't dig it. It's I don't have time for it, man.
Yeah.
Like my job is demanding.
Yeah.
I work different hours. I rotate. You know, and so it's not like that I don't want to do it, but it's just like I really don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, when I was doing El Luchador, I just happened to be off that day. That's why I was there.
Yeah.
You know, but like now you can do comedy shit all week, open mic.
Yeah, I mean, there's
to.
opportunities a lot of places, but I mean, and, there's not one set way to go about doing it. Obviously, I mean, like you started selling out shows in your first comedy show, which was fucking amazing.
2 hours by myself.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, man. I mean that's your way about going about it. And I mean, you're fucking hilarious. I mean, you just did how much time? You did like 15 minutes?
I did 15 in Laredo.
Yeah, man.
Nervous, man. I had like a 6-pack in like 45 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit me. Even I'm driving home, dude. Like, we finished the show, we got paid, and we took off.
Yeah.
Straight to San Antonio, and it didn't hit me. About 3 a.m, once we hit 1604, I was like, all right. I'm feeling it now. Not the buzzing.
That whole adrenaline rush.
Yeah, because I woke up at 4:30 that morning. I went to work, got home, showered, charged my phone. Next thing you know, my friend's like, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
And we hit the road to Laredo. So there was no sleep. So literally, it was almost like 23 hours awake.
Yeah.
You know, and to still do comedy, like it was. I'm in Laredo. Like I had never performed outside of San Antonio.
Yeah.
And
same. That was my first time, I think. Well, I did open mic in Seattle, but that was my first show.
Oh, okay.
Doing in San Antonio, outside of San Antonio. Yeah. But that's great, man. I mean, I'm glad I met you. I'm glad we got to sit down with this and stuff. Let's X-Lime. So, you know, like before comedy, before you started focusing on even DJing, doing YouTube videos, comedy. Like, what was your life before that?
I worked in high school. I had a job at Wendy's. Wendy's Culebra 410, and that was my first job. I was there 3 years.
Dang, man.
Shit, man, I'm loyal, dog.
That is loyalty. Like I had so many jobs because I would only do paycheck, and I was like, fuck that. Like I would see my paycheck. Like I worked at Bill Miller's, worked at McDonald's. When I get my first paycheck, I was like, fuck this place.
I'm out of here. Yeah, no, man.
3 years.
I worked there because I wanted to go to prom. And my grandma was like, I'll give you the money for this prom. I was a junior in high school. But you better get a job because I'm not about to give you money for anything you want your senior year because that shit's expensive and I'm not going to give you money. Yeah. You can work. All right, cool. I went to prom that Saturday. That Monday, I was already working.
Yeah.
And I was there 3 years, man. I probably would have been there longer, dude, but I got into it with the manager. And, you know, he started with me in the bottom and he moved up. And he thought his shit didn't stink, dog. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. He was having a bad day, and he took it out on me. Started telling me shit, and he was like, you know what? If you don't want to be here, clock out and go home.
Yeah.
I fucking did, dog. I was like, fuck yeah, I got to get out. Payday, I clocked out. I went home. The next day, my truck broke.
No.
And I'm stuck at home. I don't have a ride to work. And while I was driving home, I called my other friend, Jose, and he was a manager at Jack in the Box. And I was like, hey, are y'all hiring? He's like, yeah, we are. I was like, man, I need a job. Like, I'm going to quit Wendy's. And he's like, fuck it, come over. So
fucking traitor.
Yeah, for real, right? I went from fresh patties to frozen. And, you know, so I go home and my truck broke and they call me like, hey, are you coming to work today? I was like, nah, I'm not. You said I wasn't going to have a job if I left.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, man, I was just playing with you. I was like, nah, well, I quit, dog.
Yeah.
So I took that day and the next day off. My truck got fixed. That was Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, I just chilled. Thursday, I went to Jack. I applied, and I was there 2 years.
Yeah.
And while I was working at Jack in the Box, man, that's when I would like fuck around on the intercom. Like I was always messing with the intercom. And I would change my voice to be like a recording. They'd be like, really? We want a fucking order already. I was like, order, go ahead. And they're like, is this a recording or not? You know, like, so like working in the fast food, man, like you're on a mic all day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what got me like messing with people. Like I
In
love
the entertainment, entertaining yourself, entertaining the people, your coworkers, and all that stuff.
I had a friend that rapped supposedly, and we'd take the intercom, the headsets outside, and he'd be hearing himself on the on the drive-through speaker, and like he's rapping, and I'm his hype man. Like I'm hyping him up. I'm pressing my intercom, and we're both on the speaker, and like he's rapping, doing his thing, and I'm just hyping his hype man, and so that's kind of like what started everything, like just bullshitting anywhere we could.
Yeah. I think we talked about it a little bit before we started recording and stuff, like your the way you grew up. When you kind of touched on it a little bit and stuff, like that's why you're so humble yet so like eager to help others and stuff, Like you think any of that, like you pick up any life lessons? Well, obviously you did, but what do you think?
I told you about my dad.
Yeah, how do you think that influenced you into what you're doing now?
Well, like I told you, man, my dad was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And my dad was just fucking mean, dude. I mean, like I said, we didn't get spanked. We got fucked up. Like my dad would beat the shit out of us. And, it wasn't bad all the time, dog. But when it did happen, I was like, fuck, like, what did I do? What did I do to deserve that? So me, I'm not really one to cross people. I fly real straight. I can't lie to people. That's one of the things that I'm sometimes could be a little too honest.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to like steal somebody's shine. Like, well, we can all do it. Let's do it. My dad was always like I told you that time, I was like, hey, Dad, let's go eat. And he's like, do you have money?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't have money. And he's like, oh, then you ain't worth the fuck. He's like, if you don't have money to buy sodas, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
So I always make sure to have money to buy sodas, in my pocket. But my dad was always like putting shit in my head, man, that, that I keep now. Like, I remember that shit. And, like, don't lie to people, look people in the eye, shake their hand, stand up when you shake their hand. I mean, he was real, like...
Respect.
Big on that, yeah. Like, like me, I'll introduce myself like, hey, I'm Big John. And I shake your hand, and sometimes, like, I should, like, say I'm John Bettis. But then it's like I told you, like, people don't know who that is. Like, who's that? It's just one of those things. But growing up, man, in the hood, like, you see it all, man. I mean... People getting raided. We got raided. I mean, when we were kids, like, it was like, what the fuck? Like, get on the ground. Yeah. It's like, oh, shit. Just, like, living, like just, when you're living like that, man, like in the hood, and you see a lot of things, like, you want to give back to people because there's people in need. And if I can do it, like, shit, I was just hoping to encourage somebody else to do something, for people, like,
Yeah.
Last night, man, I was at Walmart, me and my girl, and we were walking in the car, and this guy came and he asked for work, and he's like, we don't have to pay him in money, we can pay him in food. So I didn't have food, and he's like, do you have any leftovers in your truck? And I'm like, does it look like I would have leftovers, Yeah. No, we went and got him some burgers from McDonald's and gave it to him, with this drink. And I posted on Facebook, and I had a I Know hoodie that I never wore because the sleeves were like huge. So he had a jacket on, and I was like, hey, do you need like another jacket? So I gave him the hoodie, and it says I Know on it. And I was like, if anyone sees him with it, like, help him out.
Oh yeah, I saw that posting.
I was like, help him out, and that was real. I mean, it wasn't me fucking around or anything. It was just like, it was real. Like, if I can help you, man, I will.
Yeah.
But you need how can I say it? I need to know you need help, man.
Yeah, and that you're not just trying to take advantage of somebody.
Yeah, don't bullshit me. Like, you have $40 in your pocket, and you don't want to spend your 40, so you'd rather borrow 20.
Yeah.
Knowing I will need it back until I don't know when. Like, don't do that. Like, just, just. My thing is, like, just be honest, man. Like,
yeah.
Don't bullshit.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So if you weren't focused on comedy, or if you weren't doing like the DJ stuff, like hypothetically, if comedy and DJing and all that stuff was in your past, what would you be focusing on? I
have a job with HEB, so probably moving up with HEB.
Have more fun with it, man. Like, would you be a movie director or something like that?
Oh man, shit.
You know what I mean? Think big.
Like I told you, man, I got into theater arts as a senior in high school.
Oh yeah.
And to me, that was like fun. Like I was like, why didn't I do this as a freshman?
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of playing football. But it was like the whole, like I was an athlete. I wanted the Letterman jacket. And not knowing that you could get a Letterman jacket for theater arts, you know, I was like, fuck, I should have done this. But I would say something like that. Like
Something in
just,
theater.
yeah, to see my name on something. Or, you know, like I said, growing up, man, I was always in the middle of something.
Yeah.
You know, before DJing, I was like 12, 11, you know, I was in middle school and I was always into something. My dad had bought me that video camera. I was recording. I probably would do something like that, directing.
Yeah.
Because I always had a video camera and I was recording everything.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that was, I would say that, dude. Something with video. You know?
Yeah. I mean, because if you think about it, like you're not gonna go far from what you're doing now with the YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you've gotten better with that. So yeah, I mean, being a movie director, or
Yeah.
doing like little shorts, or even like doing like acting in a different type of way,
Yeah.
right? Not just the characters, but maybe like a different type of,
Yeah.
you know, being yourself or being a character of yourself type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, directing.
Yeah.
Like would be, I would say. But like I said, man, it's just like whatever I put my mind to, I've done it. DJing, detailing cars, comedy. Like, I mean, once I put my mind to it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, I wish it was like that with weight loss. I get chiflado, dog. I'll lose weight and then gain weight, lose weight.
Dude, it's so bad, dude. Are you doing anything 2020? Are you doing like weight loss challenge and all that
Oh man, I'm gonna try keto.
Yeah, man. I did that once. I'm gonna try to get. That's the only thing that's worked for me. I'm not like the counting points and all that stuff. It's good, man. Like it worked for me, and I'm gonna try to do it. Another buddy of mine, we've talked about doing it real hardcore, because it works, but it's just not sustainable. Like you can't
Stay on it, right?
You can't, man.
Yeah, I love sweet tea.
Yeah.
I love pan dulce. Like, I mean,
all the stuff you can't
yeah.
have.
And I
love.
work in a bakery. Like, it's hard, dude, to like not touch cake or cookies. Or,
Yeah, man. I can't. And I mean, I did 8 months on it solid, and then I was like, you do like cheat times, cheat weekends, cheat weeks. But man, once I went back to like sweet tea and tortillas and rice and beans, I was like, I'm never going back.
Yeah, I was going to Gold's Gym regularly, man, 3-4 days a week, and you know, I was doing my thing, but I joined another gym which is like a little more full body and everything. And man, dude, I've been going since December 1st, and like, man, it's a workout.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm getting something out of it, and you know, so I'm gonna stick to that, push it a little harder.
Good,
and,
man. Yeah.
you know, just wherever I can, you know, get on a show, or you know, my show's coming up, so I'm working on that new material. Like every show has been new material. I've repeated like 2 jokes, but I kind of want those jokes to be mine.
Yeah.
So when you hear them,
You know where they came from.
you know, that's like, oh shit, he's been saying that shit for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, so right now, just get through the holidays. Wait for my tickets. I just put them in how I wanted them. As soon as I get the tickets, start selling them. Now, man, that Laredo video of me has like 800 views.
Oh,
and
wow.
I don't know how many people shared it. And I'm freaking out, dude, because I've posted my shit before. And it's gotten okay responses. But the Laredo one was just...
That was a good show, man.
It was like...
Good crowd. You did good.
Yeah. And I'm freaking out, dude, because people are sharing it that I don't even know. Like, they're messaging me, like, can you make your video public? I'm like, it is public. Just go ahead and share it. And they're like, all right, gotcha. They're sending me friend requests, and I'm freaking out. And then, like, we do that show, and then, like, we talked, and I'm here now.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean? Like, and like I said, we had never met. I've seen you on flyers. You've seen me. But, you know, I mean, you're more out there than I am, because, like, I don't go to places. Like, I just stay home and... You know,
I just stay home and sell out the shows.
Yeah, I just sell out when I feel like selling out. Yeah.
Nah,
and,
man, but
and that's what I tell people. Like, I go, man, you have no idea what's coming in March.
yeah. Oh, so that's your next
Yeah,
show,
March. That will be. And people are like, why March? I'm like, well, it's kind of like a few days after my show. Like, the second show was March 25th. This was March 29th. You know, so I kind of try to do it because I already know people will have their income tax. They'll spend money. You know what I mean? And I try to do it like that. Like,
strategically.
yeah. I'm like, all right, people will be a little more generous. They won't mind $15 tickets.
That's
So,
dope, man. That's dope. Good luck with everything, dude. I'm so glad you came in. It was nice meeting you,
yeah,
man.
same. Thank you.
Replugs. How do people find you? Give it all to them again.
Instagram at BigJohn747, the number 747. YouTube DJ space bar 747. If that's too much for you, you can just go to one stop, which is www.ayno.com, AYYNO.com, and that will take you to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Dope, man.
That's it.
Thanks for coming out.
All right, man. Thanks.
Later.
Later.